Okay, welcome back, and have in the studio with us today a new friend, and delighted to have with us today Jim Yahne, and he is the founder of the Tree of Life Wilderness Expeditions. It is a nonprofit organization, 501c3, and Jim is also a certified alcohol and drug counselor with a master's degree in health education as well, and years of experience in what he does. But one of the most unique programs you'll ever hear. Jim, welcome to the studio, and thanks for coming all the way over from Klamath Falls.
Thank you, Perry.
Good to see you.
Great to be here.
All right. Well, tell us, the Tree of Life Wilderness Expedition. This is really unique. How did you get started in this?
Well, I've kind of had a family and career background in the woods. I'll try to keep it really short, but my dad used to take me out in the woods, and I just enjoyed fishing and being out in the forest. And then through the years, I got involved in working for the Forest Service and was involved in firefighting and just spent a lot of time out in the woods and felt like it was a very, very good place for me to be able to think and draw near to the Lord. And I worked in construction and mill work, and found myself in the mid-90s. The timber industry was changing, and I came over to Southern Oregon and got my master's degree in health education. I was thought I was originally going to be a physical therapist, but I found myself, I'd been working at the hospital at the Sky Lakes Medical Center in Klamath Falls. And as I kind of progressed, I ended up going into alcohol and drug treatment services, and kind of promised myself I'd never become a counselor, but I just wanted to be out in the woods.
Okay, so you took all of that and combined it with being, you're calling yourself an outdoor hospital or a woods hospital?
Wilderness hospital.
Wilderness
but
hospital.
Outdoor hospital is probably pretty close.
Now, you're more than just a couple of weeks throughout the year. This goes on all the time.
We do. We operate year-round, and we've been primarily in the summer, but probably one of our biggest challenges is that not very many people know that we exist. There are wilderness programs throughout the country, but as far as we know, some academy and ranch programs that operate, kids go for 18-month placement, very commonly for a 1-year academy school program placement, and they may have a wilderness component. But in order to participate in that, most students have to be enrolled in those schools year-round. A lot of folks are able to access community-based counseling and go to see a pastor or a local outpatient counselor and attend 2 to 3 meetings a week, or very commonly a once-a-week type counseling service. And what we're designed for is those folks who have maybe tried that and have a need for further services. We originally grew out of wilderness trails and still are participating with wilderness trails as a camp. But what we saw was there were some kids who needed more than a 2 or 3, 4-day service. And so my partner and I started Tree of Life, and we've been operating now. We originally didn't know that we were going to need to be a licensed program, but after 2 or 3 years, we were contacted by Children's Services Division in the state of Oregon, and what we're actually licensed is an outdoor youth program.
Okay. All right, so you take young people and you take them out in the woods, and of course, with your counseling background, you work with them. So when you take these people and you go, how long are you gone for?
Our average, excuse me, our average stay in the woods is about 21 days. It's a kind of a 21 to 30 day service.
Really?
And we can operate up to 60 days, but it's basically we do an assessment with the family before they come. It's often an intervention with a family member. We actually work with adults also, but it's been primarily with youth.
So is it a result of an intervention?
It can be.
It can be. Now, I've heard those, and they're a little an abrupt start, but they do work, and they get started, and away you go.
Yeah. So we've so for instance, a couple of years ago, this is kind of one of our blog testimonies, was a family over in Boise, Idaho, had actually had to arrange to have a transport of a family member. And this individual came not very happy about coming to Tree of Life, but we're basically a treatment program. And so,
Now, what happens on these trips?
I think mostly what can happen is that a student is in a safe place where they can't just walk out of a 45-minute session in an office in town somewhere.
And go right back into the environment.
They can't just go hide back possibly in their room. They're not going to go back to the environment of other friends. They're not able to, they're kind of with themselves in a place where in God's creation. And are kind of, again, different from a camp is we're an expedition program. And so kind of the metaphor of the journey is to identify something that a person wants to move away from, and basically leaving Egypt and moving towards the promised land. And so
do you get into withdrawals out there?
a person needs to be able to be cleared by their doctor first. We have a medical doctor, a medical director of the program. We have a licensed counselor of social work. And so we have a multidisciplinary team. And so that's part of the assessment, is to make sure that a person could safely. It's not a detox center.
So how many people will you take on an expedition for over 21 days?
Our license allows us to take up to 10 students at a time, but we have typically been operating with 1-2 students. Our goal really would like to be able to grow awareness to where we could actually have 4 or 5 students at a time. 6 students would be a really optimum group size. We always have at least 2 staff, and have had we had a group last summer with 5 students, and with training new staff, we had 3 staff.
I gotta just imagine, Jim, that the first couple of days are pretty rough. You're out there, you have somebody who really doesn't want to be there. They see this as another program, another attempt. You're dealing with defiance, maybe low self-esteem, and plus the issues. Got to be a tough couple of days.
They can be tough days, and usually our safety processes to help make that safe for the person and for our groups. We have a plan, and we basically have policies and procedures for our program that really, we're involved with the National Outdoor Leadership School, NOLS, that basically looks at how to do some risk management and safety issues. And so that's a huge piece of what we want to do, because we want it to be a safe experience.
I want to, while we have time, how do people get a hold of you and want to get more information?
We, our website is tlcwe.org.
Okay.
And my phone number is 541-281-2956.
Okay, again, that's TLCWE, so TLCWE.org, or 541-281-2956. You can get a hold of Jim and learn more about this program, maybe get their brochure sent to him. And so you're home for a while. You're going to be heading out soon?
I'm actually about ready to attend some education conference for the National Alcohol and Drug Abuse Counselors Conference, and the National Christian Adventure Association Conference is coming up here this month. And then we're hoping to offer trips over the winter. We're inviting folks who might possibly like to be leaders and be involved in the ministry. We're inviting folks who feel like maybe a short-term residential adolescent Christian program might be interested in sharing that vision. I really like that you expressed the we part of our program. It's probably the heart of from the scriptures is where we counsel from. And as the members of the body working together, when we work with an individual, it's including the brothers and sisters, family members, teachers, pastors, counselors that may be involved. Not everyone necessarily has that faith and struggles and is trying to figure it out themselves. What we talk about is how do we as a family work these things out.
You know what's so interesting? I've heard very success stories come from this, and I know it's a hard, long 21 days, but at the end, you have developed life relationships with these people, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I still am in contact with folks that I had on trips years ago, and Again, it's that relation. It is a relationship-based program. It's folks, caring about one another. My pastor years ago told me people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right, right.
And I would tell you that part of the reason I got involved in this work was people reached out to me as a youth and cared about me and shared the love of God with me. And our desire is to help bring about folks to be able to know Jesus' love.
Well, it's wonderful and life-changing. It's a life-changing experience.
The guy I mentioned that came unwillingly, a few days later, it was really, I love sharing this story, but he didn't want to even take his Bible that his mom had supplied in the beginning. He says, I'll go, but I don't want to take that Bible. I'll take my sleeping bag and my pack and everything. And we headed off out into the Gearhart wilderness at that time. 2 or 3 days later, he's like, can I borrow a Bible? And he's reading his Bible, and pretty soon I hear him, he comes out of his tent and he says, do you know it says that the Israelites cried from the mouth of their tents? It says tents in the Bible. And he started to get excited.
Wow.
Well,
God put it all together for him, huh?
Yeah, that young guy was involved in some heroin use at the time. And today has just recently gotten a real high grade point average figures as he's going to veterinary school.
Isn't that wonderful?
Doing really well.
Well, Jim, thanks for coming in.
Thank
What a
you.
delight. And again, let me just say to you, you can go to tlcwe.org or give Jim a call at 541-281-2956. Check it out. Tree of Life Christian Wilderness Expeditions. Life-changing. We'll be right back.